What does it look like when you rebuild your life and help others rebuild theirs? Brian Metcalf didn't just survive the system, he turned pain into purpose and now leads others towards the light. Brian, I appreciate you being here. Your story is layered: success, pain, and service. Before we unpack it all, let's just give folks a little snapshot of who you are today.
As you said, I'm Brian Metcalf. I am currently the Director of Finance for an organization in Baltimore, Maryland, called From Prison Cells to PhD. And I've been in that role for roughly about 3 months. But prior to that, I served as the manager on a project from Howard University and with P2P. So my time was split between the two until I fully transitioned over to P2P.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. It's the work that's near and dear to my heart. So
You've spent years trying to help others, even while serving time. So when did you first realize your purpose was bigger than your past?
I found out when I encountered from P2P. So as you know, it's a organization full of amazing people that have had some challenges in the sense of just as impacted, and to see and hear from them and their stories on triumph and overcoming, and then the people that were in the ecosystem from the cohorts made me realize that although I was an educator and helping kids in the classroom, which was definitely my passion, this too now has become my passion. But it was because of encountering those amazing people from P2P.
So you were a community leader before you ever got locked up, but the system still came for you, as they say. What do people get wrong about what it means to give back while still behind bars?
I think people, what they get wrong is they don't think that we're able to, right? Because they see you as the offense that you committed, right? And while that's certainly a part of your now new identity, it isn't the sum total of your identity. And I think that that's what people get wrong, is that because you've made this mistake, that you are no longer capable or worthy of being listened to. And it's the furthest thing from the truth, right? When you're talking about helping other people that are traversing the system, in the system, having gone through the system, I think who's better to sort of connect with those individuals than somebody else that has walked the same shoes that they walked or walking. So
How do you redefine serving your time when you're also serving your people?
when you're talking about redefining, for me, it's about evolving. It's about, like, as I'm teaching and helping others, it's about also teaching myself, um, and it's about me evolving as well, right? So that I am able to help others and give back. And so I think I was the first partaker of that evolution and redefinition. And it actually started with me. I think the very first step was forgiving myself, right? Because there's a lot of guilt and a lot of shame that comes with when you are just as impacted, for whatever reason, right? There are people that you feel like you let down, you let your own self down, right? And so it started with that. That was the first, I think, line of defense to redefining who I was, but also embracing what was ahead of me, right? Because the life I had created before, in many instances, was no longer right. I had to figure out, like, how to, what does life look like for me moving forward. And so that in and of itself is, I mean, it requires you to have to redefine, like, who you are and what you're going to do, and who you're going to become after. Well, actually during, right? You start thinking about that process and transformation, like during whatever time you serve.
So you're a mentor,
Yes.
a builder,
Yep.
and a founder.
Yep.
But your mission started while you were incarcerated.
hmm
Tell me about the Second Chance Center of Hope.
Yeah, I mean, so when I think about the Second Chance Center of Hope, I mean, it's all of those things. When you talk about being a mentor, a builder, and a founder, it started, during that process in the Second Chance Center of Hope, right, where you have to mentor yourself. I mean, you're mentoring others, right? You're helping others on the inside think about, like, bettering the outcomes for themselves and the other people that are around, right? And then you think about, sort of like this, this mentoring piece, or being a builder. It comes from like teaching others, right? Whether that's a class, whether that's helping people read, whether that's helping people understand their rights, whether that's helping people really think about what's next. So if that's like a reentry plan. Um, and so I think all of those components that you learn while you are traversing the justice system or the legal system, you can really, I think I've really taken that and sort of now again sort of embedded them into the work that I currently do now. So a lot of that starts by building community, and then sort of using the skills that you learned from there and bringing them to your current space.
So, what inspired you to lead from within before ever stepping outside?
People's stories. People's stories I think was like the biggest impact, or had the biggest impact on me. And so when you hear the things that people go through, the obstacles and the challenges that they have, you really think about like, what can I do to sort of serve as a stopgap, to help people sort of navigate those challenges, because not all of us are on, in terms of maybe like background and upbringing and or educational sort of, when you think about like people's education levels, sometimes people don't know, right? And so hearing people struggle with things that what you think are like simple fixes, they just didn't have the knowledge. Really sort of started that for me, right? And it was people's stories that made me want to, sort of serve as a liaison, or a resource, if some kind of resource, if you will, to help.
So, to quote you just a little bit, you said it wasn't the bars that broke me; it was what I thought I lost.
Hmm.
What did you mean by that?
Um, I mean, because you lose your identity, right? Or what you built to be your identity. Well, you can lose what you built to be your identity, right? So before any impact with the legal system, I was an educator, and so that was the bulk of my identity, right? I was, um, so I had to leave the life that I worked so hard to build, right? And so you think that the you're running with the legal system, or being incarcerated is the thing that's going to break you, right? But it's redefining who you're going to become after, was the challenging thing, right? Because I lost everything that I had built before, and then you're sort of at ground zero, really thinking about like, what's next. um, is this going to be easy? Will people accept me? How difficult is it going to be to get a job and earn a livable wage? How difficult is it going to become to get an apartment when they do a background check? And all of those things, right? Yes, and all of those things. And so and so thinking about those things, those are the things I think that were, when you compare the two, was pretty difficult to sort of manage and navigate.
Yeah, they say on an island in a cell,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
I've heard that a million times. What's your version of it?
It is a verse in the Bible where it talks about David, going into like the back of a cave, and he was running, from a bear. And so it's very much similar to that, like you being in this dark, cold place, with no support that you think of, and feeling isolated and alone, right? And so, I can imagine when I think about that verse, like you thinking that a bear has a possibility to come in and get you. You're scared, right? It's the same. It's the same thing. You're in this place and you're afraid. You don't know. You don't know what's coming next. Am I going to be eaten? Am I going to come out of this alive? Am I going to bounce back? Am I going to make it? So all of those things, sort of, yeah, bubble up when you think about that on an island.
I want to kind of do a little bit of a hard switch here.
Yeah.
So flow with me if you don't mind, but and tell me no.
Tell me, let's go.
Describe, for the sake of the viewers watching, right? Those that are currently where you were. mentally, physically, all of those things. Describe your lowest moment.
That's a great question. And while I had several, I think the lowest was I think the reality that you were there was the lowest, right? And thinking about like whatever amount of time that you have, and not knowing what to expect, and not knowing sort of the day to day routines and expectations. And I think that was pretty low, because it's new. It's a new environment, and so one misstep can be catastrophic in terms of like adding to time, getting you placed in a different part of the prison. And so I think that was really scary, like the knowing, like, oh crap, this is real.
That cinematic shot where it goes,
Yeah.
and then the 2 seconds after that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No.
How did faith, mentorship, and/or community help you climb out?
Oh gosh. Faith definitely, right? As I just threw out a verse about David being in the back of a cave. So, I mean, so really, like, really centering myself in my faith. I am unapologetically spiritual, and so being able to take that time to reflect and look inward and think about all the things that I wanted to come out with, right? Lessons learned, um, things I would do differently or things that I would do differently. All of those things came in from my faith and being introspective, right? Listening and being quiet, aligning my, my body so that way I can actually hear, and hear clearly. So faith was really an integral part of my journey, but community. I think if I had to pick and order them, I think they're neck and neck. So I had great support, I still do, from family and friends, and I know that that is not everybody's story, right? You hear stories of families and friends walking away because people make a mistake. I didn't have that. And I don't have that. My family along the way stuck it out and still stick it out, as well as my friends. And so community is very important, right? Because at least you feel that, at the end of whatever time you have, right, you can come out to a group of people, your community, that is going to welcome you back and support you with, getting back on your feet and helping you move your life forward. And I know that, it's a privilege because everybody doesn't have that. And so community is very, very, very important, because I don't know if I would have been as resilient if I didn't have it, right? Because then you're going through it alone, right? And you don't have people that you can call and say, "I'm terrified. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even know where I'm going to live when once this is over," right? And so when you have somebody to say, you don't have to worry about that because you always have a place to come, right? That takes that burden off of you, right? But I am very well aware, as I said, like some people don't have it, and so thinking about, like, what if I didn't have that? What would that mean for me? Or you talk about low days, right? I think that though, like things like that, I think that people take for granted, um, could have very well been like the lowest day. Like, when I'm done, I don't know where I'm going to. I have no support. It's me now with this new label, that comes with all type of things when you are, post release, that you have to navigate now on your own with no support. So community has been, and then obviously my P2P family has been huge. They're part of that ecosystem when I say community. So yeah, it's very, very important.
It's the best way to overcome adversity.
Listen,
Sometimes the only way.
I was going to say, it is the only. I think, aside from, even if I didn't have any faith, if I didn't have community, there's no way. There's no way. I mean, it is so. I mean, it's like the cornerstone of success, right? When you think about it, whether you're talking about, I know we're talking about incarceration and legal system issues, but just in life, if you don't have a great community to help steward you and help shape and mold you, I mean, you don't have anything, right? And so I think having community is like, if you don't have that, it's pretty challenging.
Yeah. Something, and I've never repeated this, but it's relevant now, so I've got to give him a shout out. Something I heard Dr. Stan say is, and it was a little woo woo, It was a little spiritual.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not religious. That's some woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
But he said, what is this consciousness all about if we're not here to face adversity in the company of others?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's heavy.
I was like, I think you might have just found the purpose of life.
Yeah. That's what I was
Like,
going to say.
literally.
Yeah, no.
What are we here to do if not
If not.
to face and overcome adversity in the company of others?
Mm-hmm.
That's what consciousness is for.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, Doc. All right.
Now I might have to use that one.
That's crazy.
I might have to use that.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
It's never not real.
Yeah. And so many, I mean, I think to your point, I think that's the sum of life, right? When you think about evolving and, you know, higher consciousness and yeah. I mean, I think that's the life lesson.
I think that's what the magic of P2P is,
Yeah.
honestly.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's the secret sauce.
It is.
Because there's no hidden agenda. It's literally on the climb up, you turn around, you
Bring somebody with you.
bring somebody with you.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's one of those things where you can go back and say, I see you, I understand, I know you think, right? I know you feel, I know it even looks like that this is it. But let me show you something different, right? Come with me, right? And if you sort of follow, and again, you adapt it to what people's needs are, but if you follow like the basic footprint, I mean, we can tell by the organization, you will be okay. Not easy, right? But in the end, you'll be okay.
Who's the first person to believe in you after everything?
Oh gosh, so there's a guy by the name of Eugene Pringle. Is probably the first person to know, but also the first person to reassure me that everything would be okay. He used the words from, I think she might be a female rapper. Her name is Glorilla, and in one of her verses she says, "At the end of the day is going to end." Right, and so he was liking that to whatever time you have to serve. At the end of the day, that day is going to end, right? And you'll be able to come out and do whatever it is that you want to do. So in addition to that, you know, he still is a great friend, and sort of, you know, if I'm having a challenging day, I can pick up the phone and vent. If I need some sage advice, I can call and he'll do that as well. So I think that, yeah, it was Eugene Pringle. Shout out to him.
So you didn't just re-enter society, right? You walked back into leadership, but that wasn't an easy road. What almost stopped you?
I think me, to be honest, I think you know, you carry the weight again of what you did, right? And again, the guilt and the shame of it all. And so that guilt and shame, sometimes you project on how people may encounter you, right? And so I know for me, it was very second guessing. You know, would people be open to, you know, to me? No, they won't. So just let me not even go down that path, right? And so I think I was probably, you know, more capable of self-sabotaging it than anybody else, right? Because you always meet people that you think is going to have a different perspective, and then they can relate. Because even if it isn't them, they have a brother, a cousin, a sister, aunt, or uncle that they really understand, had those same challenges, and you see them, that you see sort of the response, because it's familiar, right, to them. And so you go in and you think like, oh my gosh, this is going to be awful, and it turns into something really delightful, right? And I've had those encounters. But I think I was in my own way, for sure.
As we are quite often.
Yeah. But to your point, well, what was the parable that Dr. Stan said, or the quote that Dr. Stan said, right? Talking about like what is higher consciousness if you're not going to, you know, face it in front of others, or
overcoming adversity in the company of others.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. So I had to get there, because I didn't want to do it in front of others, right? I wanted to do it by myself.
You're on that island.
Yeah.
So you've helped a lot of people find their footing. What are 3 things that somebody re-entering society needs to do in their first 30 days?
Wow. An action plan for what you're going to do and stick to it. And when I say stick to it, get with other people and organizations like P2P that can be your accountability partner, right? So I think those two go hand in hand, right? So get an accountability group, and come up with an actionable plan that you plan to sort of enact. So if that's going to trade school, if that's getting your driver's license, you need a plan to do that, right? You need to study like how am I going to get my driver's license, and you need to create that plan and stick to it. But sometimes you run into a bump in the road, and this is why accountability is so important. You run into a bump in the road, you're like, I knew this was going to happen. You get defeated, right? And then you need that accountability partner to say, I get that, I hear that, but no, here's what we're going to do next, right? And hold you accountable so that you can, achieve what you set out to do. So I think that's number one.
So you're like, no, don't turn left.
Yeah,
Stay with me. Let's keep going.
Keep going. We're not veering off this path, baby. Keep going. And then believing in yourself. Like you have to come out believing that whatever you set your mind to, other people are going to tell you you can't do that because you're a felon. You will never be able to get a place. And so when you hear that over and over again, you start to ruminate on it and begin to believe it. And so then you just don't try because you don't think that you can, or that you don't have the ability or the skills to do that thing. And so
now you're in an invisible prison cell.
Exactly. Another one that you put yourself in, right? Versus saying, no, I might get some no's. So I'm not naive about that, but I'm not going to try. So, and that takes a deep sense of belief. Yeah. And so that means you have to really look inward and pull from some internal strength, from within, in order to be able to have that resilience that you're going to need when you are overcoming or re-entering, as we use, back into society. So definitely a belief in yourself that you can is critical. And then the final thing is that community. You have to build a community, right? Whether that's a new community or you know old or new or mixed, right? Community is going to be so important to help you move forward, for a lot of reasons, not just accountability, but for connections, right? If you don't reach out and you don't have community, man, it is going to be more challenging than it is. But you find the more that you build community and share your story and listen to other people's story, somebody always has an answer to everything that you need, right? It is within community, right? And that's what community is and should be, right? Is about sharing resources. So you have an issue with housing. Oh, I know this person that can help with that. Or you need a job. Oh, I know this place is hiring because my friend just got a job there. So, but you only get that if you're in community. If you don't, you have to try to figure this out and navigate it on your own, which is going to be challenging.
Most people can't climb a mountain by themselves.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah.
We've got, what do they call them? Sherpas?
Exactly.
Do you have the right shoes?
Yeah.
Do you got the right spikes?
Yeah.
Do you have this in your backpack? Did you bring your oxygen?
Yeah.
Don't go that way.
Yeah, because
you'll die.
Yeah, I guess no, right? Because you're gonna fall off, right?
You need that guide.
Gotta have it.
Don't let the ego get in the way, right?
Oh my gosh. Preaching to the choir. Yeah. That's when I said I got in my way. That's what it is. It's ego.
What's the message that you want people to carry forward from your story?
Oh gosh, that again, there's a passage in the Bible: all have sinned, fallen short of the glory, right? Whether you're a spiritual Christian or not, right? Everybody makes mistakes. But regardless, if you made the same mistake, haven't made that mistake, or even was caught making a mistake, pull the next individual up, right? Be a helping hand, be more empathetic, right? And understanding like people's situations, why they encountered the legal system, but more importantly, be willing to help, right? Especially when a person is putting their best foot forward to make amends, and to do something different and to do something new. We don't need to be a sign held over our head every single time we go to do something, right? Because we've already served our time, right? Be a part of the solution and help someone reestablish their journey or who they are at this point and be a part of their journey. Because we need it. And without other people helping, it's almost impossible. I hate to use that word, but it's seemingly impossible, right? When you don't have. And so I just want people to know that we're human. We made a mistake, but we still need each other, right? And that's what community is. And you don't have to have walked my shoes to be able to be empathetic and see that that I'm really trying to be a better or the best version of me. And since that is true, you can help, right? Whether that's a word of advice, and I think people think help comes in the form of monetary or something. You can help by just encouraging somebody, like, keep going. I see you. I recognize this is difficult, but you're doing it. Keep moving. Keep going. Stay on that path, right? Don't go left. Don't go right. Keep going.
Oh, he's right there.
Yeah, keep going. Don't go to the left. Don't go to the right. Stay on the path. Is the right path for you.
Man, Brian, it was great sitting down with you. If people want to reach out and get involved and see what you're doing,
yeah,
how do they get in touch? What should they know? Where do they go?
Yeah, definitely. So you can go to prisontopro.org, which is the website, or you can email me directly at brian at prisontopro.org. Again, that is brian at prisontopro.org.
Awesome. It's great sitting down with you.
Great sitting down with you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to this coming out and
I can't wait.
the success of the book.
I can't
If you
wait.
haven't
Thank you.
gotten it yet, go pre-order right now.
Go get your book.